What's up everybody, see you again on the Fake MMA News. Again, we will inform you the latest news from the MMF special UFC. And just listen.
Dana White faces familiar headache as Jon Jones wavers on Tom Aspinall clash. Jon Jones will fight in 2025, 100%. Jon Jones definitely wants the fight. Now we're working on when and where. UFC President Dana White said in a casual street interview with Adam Glynn. His statement briefly reignited fan hopes for a heavyweight showdown between Jones and interim champ Tom Aspinall. But instead of clarity, the heavyweight division finds itself deeper in limbo, and Dana White might be staring down a nightmare he's faced before. Despite White's optimism, Jones's interest in facing Aspinall remains lukewarm at best. Since the British powerhouse rose as the clear next challenger, Bones has shown little urgency to meet him inside the octagon. The reason? Jones reportedly doesn't view Aspinall as a legacy opponent worthy of his resume. That sentiment has lingered throughout any unification talks. So when coach Eric Nixick hinted at a possible UFC return for former champ Francis Ngannou, Jones didn't hesitate to shift his focus. The Predator, not Aspinall, seemed to reignite his competitive fire. That pivot has only further muddied the waters and left even White sounding less convinced than ever. Dana White, this is starting to feel like Khabib all over again. White once hailed a Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall bout as the greatest heavyweight fight of all time. But now, the UFC boss appears to be hedging his bets, comparing the situation to Khabib Nurmagomedov's shocking retirement after UFC 254, a loss White still openly laments. At the UFC 316 post-fight press conference, White said, "I don't know. Listen, if the guy wants to retire and doesn't want to fight, nothing you can do. I didn't want Khabib to retire. I thought DC should have stayed in it longer, so it's none of my business. I'll do what I can to make the fight if we can. If he's talking that crazy st, I didn't realize that." Meanwhile, Jones has repeatedly said he informed the UFC of his plans long ago, but neither party has fully disclosed those plans publicly, leading to further speculation. Is Jones preparing for one final fight or quietly inching toward retirement? Here's the real question fans are now debating. If Jones refuses to fight Aspinall, should the UFC strip him and crown a new undisputed champ? Let us know your take in the comments. Legacy or not, does Jones owe Aspinall the fight? Does Ngannou return unlikely? For now, as rumors swirl about a potential Ngannou comeback, White isn't biting. Despite the public's fascination with a Jones versus Ngannou dream matchup, reality paints a different picture. Ngannou is still under contract for 2 more fights, and the UFC has shown no signs of reconciliation with its former champion. When asked whether Ngannou could return to the UFC, White was blunt, probably not. He continued, reaffirming Aspinall's position in the title picture. "It's Aspinall's fight. We've been talking to this kid forever about it, and it's his fight. I don't have Ngannou on a contract, and Aspinall is the guy." Still, White's probably not leaves a sliver of possibility for a future return. If Ngannou finishes his PFL obligations and the UFC heavyweight division needs a new spark, especially if Jones retires without unifying the belts, the door might crack back open. Until then, the UFC must navigate uncertain waters. Jon Jones holds the undisputed title, but seems reluctant to defend it against the interim champion. Tom Aspinall waits in limbo, and Dana White is caught in a familiar dilemma. Push for the super fight or risk another GOAT walking away on his own terms.